Slot pressure is inevitable, but Liverpool already knows the best man for the job. Virgil van Dijk took a deep breath and sighed audibly before stating his response. The Liverpool captain, speaking to reporters after his side had lost 3-0 at home to Nottingham Forest, was as confused as anyone else. "I think the first half an hour was not bad at all, actually," he said. "But after we conceded a goal, up until halftime, we were too rushed and nervous in the way we played. We were trying to rush things, and the way we started the second half was unacceptable." Hours later, Van Dijk was to arrive home. There, he said, he would consider what steps needed to be taken next. But he was unequivocal in directing the blame not just for this defeat, but the dire Liverpool run in general. Away from Slot. The players are letting Slot down. He admitted, individual and collective performances have not been good enough, and for a team that was celebrating becoming Premier League champions only 12 games ago, it simply isn't acceptable. Finding a solution to Liverpool's poor run of form has been of the highest priority for a number of weeks now, but so far, Slot's staff and his players have found no answers. Wins against Aston Villa and Real Madrid were excellent, but they proved to be a false dawn. Instead, it seems, any team that targets the lack of physicality among the Liverpool ranks will inevitably come out on top. No one is suggesting that things can go on like this forever, but the hope for Liverpool must be that results turn quickly. The former Reds man Stephen Warnock pointed out to Liverpool.com this morning. Though, if he continues this run of form and they don't win games, what happens if they lose their next 5? It could definitely happen with the way Liverpool are playing. The problems are mounting and the solutions seem at least as far away as they did a few weeks ago. Chiefly, Alexander Isak is no closer to looking like a $169 million, £125 million striker, and Florian Wirtz, now injured, is yet to get going. Ibrahima Konate, meanwhile, is only ever one mistake away from a confidence meltdown, and Joe Gomez doesn't appear to be ready to step in. There have been calls to fire Slot, and the fact that it is even a conversation at this stage of the season tells its own story. As frustrated fans streamed out of Anfield on Saturday, there would no doubt have been a few saying his time was up. In the cold light of day, though, Liverpool won't be so hasty, and there are several reasons why he remains the best man for the job just as he was last season, when he collected the league title. Though, it is clearly yet to come to fruition. There was a clear plan in the summer when Liverpool spent around $600 million on new players. It was with Slot in mind that such big sums were committed. In the long term, a team with a fully firing Wirtz and a properly fit Isak will be transformed. Those two players alone would be enough to make a massive difference at their peak, and yet neither is anywhere close to that right now. Not really through any fault of Slot's. In the short term, despite the hefty outlay, Liverpool has gone backwards. As it stands, Luis Diaz would have been a better option than Wirtz, for instance. In time, though, that won't be the case. Likewise, Darwin Núñez would be more useful against PSV on Wednesday than a struggling Isak. Quite obviously, however, the Swede will eventually prove himself to be a substantial upgrade. That goes for all the summer signings. While right now they might not look good value, patience is required. Perhaps had the deal for Mark Guéhi been finalized, that would have gone some way to tightening up the Liverpool back line, if nothing else, by adding to the competition for places. Milos Kerkez, meanwhile, when the 22-year-old finds his feet, was the best in the top flight last season and will show that too. The bottom line is, Liverpool, inarguably, should not be playing as dismally as it is. No matter the mitigations, and should that continue for another few weeks, the questions around Slot will only grow, especially if he doesn't start finding some solutions, until Isak looks closer to full fitness. For example, he should be looking to Hugo Ekitike. That feels like one obvious fix. Slot was the man to win the Premier League title at a canter last season, though, and his side still looks well placed to go far in Europe. Even if there was another realistic candidate to replace him, and there isn't, Liverpool would be better off sticking with him. Wayne Rooney is right. Liverpool cannot afford to carry Mohamed Salah any longer. Just months after lifting the title at a sun-drenched stand, Liverpool is in full-blown crisis mode as we head for the final month of 22-5. Talk of Slot losing his job seems premature and, quite frankly, ridiculous at this stage, but there is no doubt that something has to change to arrest the slide. Starting against PSV in the Champions League on Wednesday night, Slot will earn every bit of his $8.3 million, £6.6 million in the coming weeks, with big calls needing to be made on setup, systems, and personnel. And for Wayne Rooney, those decisions should start with Liverpool's talisman, whose goals ultimately secured the title just months ago. If I was Slot, I'd try and make a big decision just so it has an impact on the rest of the team. said Rooney in his latest podcast episode. Mo Salah is not helping them defensively. If you're one of the players who they've signed and you're on the bench and you've seen him not running, and again, he's a club legend in everything he's done for the club, but if you're on the bench, then what message does that send to you? It is of course not the first time that Rooney has called out the Egyptian. His comments on Salah and Virgil van Dijk drew an angry response from the Liverpool captain earlier this month, with Rooney later conceding he may have gone over the top. This time though, the ex-Manchester United and Everton man has a point. Salah's decline in numbers is there for all to see. He has scored just 5 goals in 17 games in all competitions and had 10 at this stage last term. Few expected him to replicate last season's stats, despite his bumper new deal, but his performance levels have also dropped significantly, and now there is a real question mark over what he is actually bringing to this Liverpool team. Frailties in defense have been brutally exposed in the first months of the season, particularly at fullback where the likes of Connor Bradley, Jeremy Frimpong, and Dominic Szoboszlai have not been provided with sufficient cover from Salah. The Egyptian indicated at the end of last season that there was an agreement in place with Slot for him to forego his defensive responsibilities. And it worked, but in the current predicament, Liverpool simply cannot afford to carry him as a passenger any longer. Rooney's comments come as Gary Neville urged Slot to change his system to improve Liverpool's fortunes. He proposed the idea that the Reds' boss could shore things up by bringing Joe Gomez and Andy Robertson into a more solid defense, while also introducing a narrow 4 into midfield, with Szoboszlai tucking in on the right instead of Liverpool's no.11. The Sky Sports pundit did indicate Salah could play in one of the 2 striking positions, but he is simply not deserving of a place in Liverpool's best she at present. Given them huge outlay on Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike, maybe now is the time for Liverpool fans to see them play together. That just cannot happen if Salah is still being picked. The Reds turned in their best display of the season against Eintracht Frankfurt when Salah dropped to the bench, and it wouldn't be the most contentious call if he missed out against PSV 2, given the hectic schedule that awaits in December. But Slot must now take a stand and heed Rooney's advice when it comes to the Premier League too. Starting with the weekend trip to West Ham, Arne Slot odds to be next Premier League manager, fired, and top 5 candidates to replace him. Liverpool manager Arne Slot is second favorite to become the next Premier League manager to be sacked after Saturday's 3-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest. Slot is down to 5/1 to be the next Premier League manager to leave their post, trailing Leeds United manager Daniel Farke 8/11 at the top of the betting market. Saturday's defeat to Nottingham Forest saw Liverpool drop into the bottom half of the table, having lost 6 of its last 7 Premier League matches. Slot, who took responsibility for the defeat before opting not to attend a ceremony to collect his Northern Football Writers Association Manager of the Year award, is under as much scrutiny as ever since becoming Liverpool manager 2 summers ago. In his first season on Merseyside, the XV-honored manager led Liverpool to 25 wins, 9 draws, and just 4 defeats on its way to the club's record 20th top-flight title. It was a hugely successful debut season, and in turn, Liverpool entered the 2025-26 as favorites to win a second straight league title, especially after its summer spending spree to bring superstars like Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz, although various pundits, including Gary Neville, former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, and Liverpool chairman Tom Werner have voiced their backing. Of Slot, oddsmakers believe there is a chance the Dutchman could be relieved of his duties in the near future. Liverpool host PSV Eindhoven in the Champions League on Wednesday before a run of 3 league matches in 7 days against West Ham, Sunderland, and Leeds. FSG decides to cut ties with Slot. The managerial opening will draw interest from some of the highest profile names across the country. In World.X, Liverpool boss Klopp is the 4/1 favorite to return the club he won 7 major trophies with, although the German has already given his verdict on a potential return.